Hey guys, Ryan Smith with the Ryan Smith Home Selling Team here to discuss what to do if you're selling your home and the appraisal comes in low. But before we talk about that, if you're looking at buying a home or selling a home right now, please click on the appropriate links below. And now on to our topic. You know, one of the questions that we've seen pretty consistently from a lot of our seller clients and even from some of our buyer clients is, what do we do if our house doesn't appraise for the sales price? Now, obviously, that's never a great situation to be in, and we never want that to happen, but it does sometimes. And so in those circumstances, what are my options? And so, I think we've got four consistent options at almost every time that happens. These are the four options that would be on the table, and so let's discuss those real quick. So the first thing that you could do is you could always cancel the contract. So most contracts today are written in a way that if the house does not appraise for the sales price, the buyer can terminate the contract and receive their earnest money back. So they wouldn't really be out any money. They can back out of the deal and move on. And obviously that's a lot of times that's not the preferred scenario, but it's something that does happen. And so that is one of the options that everybody does have, which is to terminate the contract. So the second option would be that the parties involved could put up more cash. So, if it's a $100,000 sales price and a house appraises for $95,000, there's a $5,000 difference there. And oftentimes the lender may not be willing or able to make up that $5,000. So in those circumstances, the $5,000 needs to be made up from the parties involved. So it could mean the buyer comes up $2,500 and the seller reduces the sales price $2,500. It could mean the buyer comes up all the way. It could mean the seller comes down all the way. All these things are options, but they have to be negotiated out between the parties that are involved. And as long as they can make up that difference, then the sale can continue. So that is one option. The third option could be just changing the terms of your loan. Now, depending on the kind of loan you're trying to get and the lenders you're visiting with, this may or may not be a possibility. But sometimes in certain circumstances, it may be possible to get like a first mortgage for a certain amount of money and a second mortgage for a second amount of money. And by having two liens on the property, two mortgages, you can sometimes satisfy the concerns that lenders would have if the property would not appraise. Now, again, that's going to deal with each specific loan and lender and property type that you're dealing with. So in those circumstances, I would always highly encourage you to visit with your lender to get the best advice of how to do that, or if that would even be a possibility. But then the last option, and the one that we probably take the most commonly in my situation, is to challenge the appraisal. So in these circumstances, when the appraisal comes in low, guys, please understand, appraising a house is not a science. You're never going to find a property that is the exact same in every single way as the one that is selling when you're looking for comparable sales. So as the appraisers are out there looking for comparable sales to help determine what a certain property is worth, they're not getting the exact same thing. They might be finding things similar, but they're finding things that they're going to find as close of comparable sales to what your subject property, the home being sold, is, right? And then what they're going to do is they're going to use some subjectivity to determine what the value or what they believe the value of the home being sold is, okay? But you got to understand there's subjectivity there, right? So in those circumstances, what I would do as a listing agent, if I was trying to challenge the appraisal, or even as a buyer's agent, if I felt it was necessary to challenge the appraisal, that's going to be me reaching out to the appraiser and sharing facts with them that they may or may not have seen to try to influence them to reappraise the property or raise their value back up to our sales price. Does that work? Well, I'd say probably about 60% of the time when we go through those steps, appraisers are willing to listen and to adjust. But it's not 100%. Sometimes that they are not, and they have strong feelings of why they feel a property is worth what they think it is. And in those circumstances, we have three other options that we get to work with. So, but I hope that answers your questions. If you guys have any questions on this topic, please feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to share anything that I can with you to help. We are always here to serve you and to do a great job for you. And I really do appreciate your time and listening and watching this video. So have a fantastic day.